Welcome to the Deep Dive, your shortcut to being truly well-informed. Today, we're peeling back the layers on Bill Gates.
Right. Beyond the headlines, beyond the fortune.
Exactly. What genuinely drives one of the world's most, influential figures is the reality different from how we might perceive him.
That's the core question, isn't it?
Our mission today, really, is to extract the most important insights from a pretty exclusive interview with Gates himself. We want to zero in on what fuels his ambition for global change and maybe uncover some, surprising personal reflections.
And the source material is quite broad. It covers everything from his deepest fears, which are fascinating, to India's role as this global innovator.
Yeah, and his philosophy on wealth, philanthropy, AI, it's a lot.
It is. So this deep dive, it's really designed to give you a unique lens into the man behind those headlines. You get these fresh perspectives on innovation, global health, and that mindset for lifelong learning he talks about.
It's really interesting how his personal views seem to weave into his global strategy.
Absolutely. It gives you a perspective you don't often get.
It feels like a rare chance to get inside the mind of someone who's genuinely shaped our world.
Huh.
Okay, let's unpack this. So when we think about these incredibly powerful, wealthy individuals, it's easy to assume, maybe, that their values or agendas are just vastly different from ours.
Right. Like they're operating on another plane entirely or have some grand scheme.
Exactly, that grand scheme idea.
Hmm.
What do you think people most misunderstand about Bill Gates? What does he think?
Well, Gates actually talked about this. He gets that people might assume he has these grand scheme or totally different values.
He's aware of that perception.
Very aware.
Yeah.
But he hopes, he really hopes that the people who actually know him, through the foundation, his friends, his kids, see something different, a more nuanced picture.
So it's less about PR and more about genuine authenticity.
I think so. It points to this desire for authenticity, pushing back against that sort of monolithic public image.
That makes sense. And speaking of the personal side, he revealed something pretty surprising about his biggest fear. It wasn't what I expected, like losing wealth or influence.
No, not at all. His greatest personal fear is his brain becoming less capable as he gets older.
Really?
His brain? Yeah. He actually sounded quite sad about the thought of losing his ability to learn. He mentioned he's lucky to have maybe 20 more years of intense learning, and he finds that prospect, disappointing.
Wow. That tells you a lot about what he values. Not money, but intellect.
Exactly. It's this profound attachment to learning, to discovery, to just knowing things. His mental faculties are key.
So how does someone like that, someone so attached to learning and has been innovating for decades, how does he evolve? How different is Bill Gates at 25 compared to now?
Oh, he describes his 20s as almost maniacal. That was his word.
Maniacal.
Yeah. From about age 20 to 32, he said his focus was just incredibly narrow, all on software. He talked about working like 72 hours straight sometimes.
Yeah.
He thinks that kind of intense, almost obsessive drive is, maybe appropriate for your 20s, especially if you don't have family commitments yet. You need it to move faster in a competitive field.
To get ahead.
Right. Establish that lead quickly.
So how does that intense youthful drive change over time? Is it still there or has it mellowed?
Well, he admits, if he took an IQ test today, he might score a bit lower than at 25.
Oh, interesting.
But, and this is key, he feels that accumulated knowledge and sort of wisdom more than make up for it. He sees the brain like a muscle.
Keep using it or lose it.
Basically, yeah. Keep pushing yourself to think and learn, and you maintain that capability. And interestingly, his view on old people, as he put it, has changed too.
How so?
He used to kind of underestimate their contributions, but now he really appreciates their importance, the value of experience.
That makes sense. So given all his success, this evolution, what's the one behavior he'd recommend to everyone, universally?
It's actually pretty straightforward, but quite profound, he says. Being a student all the time.
Always learning.
Always learning. Read a lot and be, quote, brutal with yourself about really understanding things, not just surface level.
Brutal. That's intense.
It is. He values meeting people who can teach him things. And he talks about how knowledge, when you carefully build it up, it all kind of connects together.
So learning isn't just a hobby, it's foundational, it's the engine.
Absolutely. It's how he went from software to global health, right?
Yeah.
Always learning, connecting ideas across different fields.
Okay, so that personal philosophy of relentless learning clearly drives him. How does that then translate into his work globally, especially somewhere like India, where the foundation is so active?
Yeah, let's shift to India. He's seen it transform firsthand, right? Through Microsoft and the foundation. What does he see there that maybe others miss?
Good question.
He talks about this fantastic explosion of entrepreneurship and innovation. He says it's really striking when he goes back after being away for a bit.
So it's palpable change.
Definitely. Initially, the Gates Foundation was mostly focused on India's health challenges, but now he sees so much invention happening within India.
Like what specifically?
Oh, everything from new vaccines, better seeds for agriculture, advanced diagnostics, even applying AI in health and education. He says the whole innovation ecosystem has just, well, exploded.
And it benefits more than just India, presumably.
Exactly. It has global implications.
That's quite a shift to witness. India really has become this uh, global talent hub. What's his perspective on that rise?
Well, he traces it way back to the early Microsoft days. They used to hire talented people from India and bring them to the U.S.
Right, the so-called brain drain back then.
Yeah, he joked that both countries were kind of mad at Microsoft for taking the smart people, but then many of those same people went back to build Microsoft India.
Ah, interesting cycle.
Yeah, and he credits India's success to a few things. Its sheer scale, obviously, 20% of the world's population, but also a really strong emphasis on engineering and software.
And the universities.
Absolutely. He mentions the excellent universities like the IITs, the Indian Institutes of Technology, and then you see these global leaders emerge, like Satya Nadella at Microsoft, Sundar Pichai at Google, people who combine that engineering background with management skill.
Right. So speaking of talent and leaders, if you could have dinner with any three Indians, living or dead, who would make the cut?
He actually found that tough, picking just three, which says something, right?
Yeah, reflects the depth of talent.
It does. But he mentioned the mathematician Ramanujan called him an almost mysterious genius,
Wow.
and a scientist named Raj Bond, who was key in setting up India's Department of Biotechnology. He also said he really values his discussions with the current prime minister, understanding the 2047 vision for India, and people like Ratan Tata, other philanthropists, innovators. He clearly appreciates both historical figures and current leaders.
It's clear India is central to his global vision. I mean, the whole Gates Foundation board recently visited, right? So what's the focus there now? Why is India such a key innovation lab?
Well, it's striking. India's made huge progress. Like, the child death rate is way down, maybe a third of what it was.
That's incredible progress.
It is, but it's still nearly 3 times higher than in wealthy countries. So there's still a lot of work to do. Malnutrition is a huge focus.
Why malnutrition specifically?
Because, as Gates stressed, if it happens during pregnancy or that critical first year of life, it can permanently damage a child's brain development and physical growth. It has lifelong consequences.
Right. And India's role in solutions.
He points to India's incredible depth of talent and also its desire for frugal solutions, finding cost-effective answers. That makes it vital for global innovation, especially using new biology tools and AI for healthcare.
And not just healthcare.
No, he also highlighted India's leadership in what he calls digital public infrastructure. Things like Aadhaar, the digital ID system, and digital payment platforms.
That stuff is really advanced in India.
It really is.
Yeah.
And that model, he says, is now being shared with countries in Africa. It's a kind of South-South thing, he called it, that the foundation helps facilitate. #tag wealth responsibility and tackling humanity's toughest problems.
This commitment to leveraging resources, it clearly goes beyond just his own learning. It shapes how he thinks about his wealth, too. Which brings us to inheritance. Always a
Yeah.
tricky topic. What's his philosophy there?
Yeah, it's something people are always curious about. He's actually very clear on it. His kids got a great education, a great upbringing, but they'll inherit, quote, less than 1% of the total wealth.
Less than 1%. Why so little?
He genuinely believes giving them vast sums wouldn't be a favor. He wants them to find their own way, build their own success, not live in the shadow of his fortune. He explicitly said it's about preventing a dynasty.
That's a strong stance.
It is. And he made an interesting observation. He thinks people who made fortunes in tech tend to be less dynastic, maybe more aggressive about giving away the actual capital, not just the income from it, compared to older industries.
Any other interesting tidbits on that?
Yeah, he also mentioned he's seen cases where it's actually the younger generation pushing their wealthy parents to be more philanthropic.
Oh, that's a switch. So with all these resources, you'd think the foundation could solve almost anything. But what does Gates see as the biggest challenges or maybe even mistakes in his career or philanthropy?
He's surprisingly open about setbacks, actually.
Like what?
Well, for Microsoft, he points to things like their failure in the phone operating system market. Android won out. He called it a huge mess up.
Right, I remember that.
Mhm.
And for the foundation.
Yeah, things haven't always gone to plan. Scientific goals like an HIV vaccine, still not there. A cheap, sustainable toilet design, still too expensive for widespread use. And polio eradication. It's just taking a lot longer than we thought.
So constant challenges. What's the biggest one right now?
He said it's partly scientific really getting a handle on malnutrition, but also just rallying global support. He sounded genuinely disappointed that rich countries, including the U.S., are cutting foreign aid budgets.
Finding it hard to convince people.
Yeah, finding it hard to convince people to help others who are far away. He sees it as fundamentally going against the golden rule.
So are there problems that even immense resources just can't fix, where money isn't the main barrier?
Absolutely. He highlighted the massive difficulty of behavior change.
Human nature.
Pretty much. He mentioned talking about obesity with India's prime minister, who suggested yoga. Gates's take was that, well, not many countries have gotten the behavior change right on issues like that.
So what's the answer then, if behavior change is so hard?
Well, him being a technologist, he actually sees more potential in scientific solutions. He mentioned the new GLP-1 drugs for obesity, which will eventually be off patent and cheap.
So tech over behavior. Or both.
Ideally both, he suggests. But he admits behavior change is just fundamentally hard, and we all know that from our own lives, right? Trying to stick to good habits.
Okay, let's look forward. If Bill Gates, with all his experience, were starting a company today, say in India, what field would he jump into?
He didn't hesitate much on that one. He said he'd likely be involved in one of the new AI companies.
AI. Makes sense.
Yeah, he sees AI as today's equivalent of what software was for him back when he started. Just this field with unlimited possibilities. It really shows that drive towards the next big transformative thing.
But is it too late now? I mean, AI seems dominated by huge players already. Are there still real opportunities for newcomers?
He acknowledges it's definitely tougher now to get out front. You've got massive investments from the big tech companies, intense global competition. He even mentioned Chinese firms and NVIDIA's rapid rise.
So the window is closing.
Not entirely. He firmly believes there will be new companies that use AI to achieve unbelievable success. But maybe, he cautioned, only 2 or 3 out of 10,000 startups.
Long odds. So what's his advice for people interested in AI?
His practical advice is interesting. Most people don't need to dive deep into the underlying math. Focus instead on being really effective users of AI.
How so?
Use it to boost your creative work, basically. Bridge AI with whatever industry or passion you already have. Make AI work for you in your field.
That connects right back to his core idea of being a lifelong student, doesn't it? Using new tools to learn and create.
Exactly. And he calls today's learning environment a paradise.
A paradise. Compared to what?
Compared to his youth. He talked about having to physically go to the library, read encyclopedias cover to cover alphabetically with no multimedia, just text.
Right. Hard to imagine now.
Totally. Now you've got the internet's vast resources, plus AI tools that can summarize huge documents or even discuss ideas with you. He thinks it makes learning incredibly accessible, incredibly powerful. It's an amazing time to be curious.
So looking at this future shaped by AI and constant learning, what are his biggest fears for humanity? And what legacy does he hope to leave?
He has a pretty clear list of major fears. Number 1, shaping AI positively, making sure it benefits humanity.
That's top of mind for many people.
For sure. Then, avoiding the next pandemic, nuclear war, bioterrorism, and of course, climate change. He feels society has to use its increased wealth and knowledge to tackle these big threats.
And his legacy. What does he want to be remembered for?
He actually said he doesn't do the work for an epitaph, which is interesting.
Okay.
Ideally, he hopes future generations will look back at diseases like polio, malaria, malnutrition, and basically say, what was that? Because they just don't exist anymore. Partly, he hopes, because he helped champion the resources to fight them.
That's a powerful vision. Any specific target?
Yes. Polio. He's aiming for its complete elimination within 5 years. If achieved, it would only be the second human disease ever eradicated after smallpox back in 1980.
Wow. That would be incredible.
Yeah.
#, outro. Well, we've really taken quite a journey into the thinking of Bill Gates today. We've touched on his deep personal commitment to learning, India's incredible rise in innovation.
His pretty unique views on wealth and philanthropy, and that really ambitious vision for a healthier, more educated world driven by tech and, well, human ingenuity.
Yeah. And the thread running through it all, as you highlighted, seems to be that power of being a lifelong student.
It really does feel fundamental to him. It fueled his business success. It fuels his philanthropy now, this constant drive to understand and solve
It
problems.
really makes you think, doesn't it? What areas are you, listening right now, excited to learn about? And how could you maybe use these new tools, like AI, to go deeper?
And building on Gates's ambition, if humanity could genuinely focus its collective great thinking and resources, as he put it, on just a few of these huge global
Like
problems.
eliminating a disease.
Right. What other seemingly impossible challenges could we actually overcome, maybe even in our lifetime? It's a provocative thought.
Definitely something to reflect on. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Bill Gates' insights.